Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Like Queen Lisa, and today is November 9th, 11/9. It's the reverse of 9/11, and you're seeing it all over. We'll be back with Johnny right after this. Hey, Johnny. It is an exciting day today. I already did 2 videos. This is number 3 for the day.
Nice.
Yeah, so we'll just do a quick one. I just wanted to kind of catch everybody up. Make sure you check out the World Blockchain Roundtable today on Dragon Chain channel, and then also the one that I did about the U.S. Embassy and the Leonardo satellite project just a little while ago that popped that Mom sent me. So things are happening. There's also DOJ recently. So a few weeks ago, no, maybe it was last week. It feels like a few weeks ago. Days are turning into weeks, and we're on this countdown to November 17th, where the government's going to run out of money again. We'll see what happens. But today there was Marsha Blackburn announced subpoenas for several things. They've got subpoenas flying for a lot of the Biden family, but she also threw in this announcement right at the end. She said, so the Senate Judicial Committee holds this business meeting, and at the end, she asks for Epstein's flight logs. She sent subpoenas to Epstein's family and said, we need to know, we know what was happening on that plane, and we need to know who was on that plane and how often. So that, I think, is going to be very telling.
I watched that video. Yeah, that was interesting. Let's see where that goes. We know all know about Epstein. That's something that they don't want to bring too much light to.
They don't.
I feel like we're hearing more about it now because of the Israel stuff going on. So it's coming out that, hey, was he, he was working for the Mossad or whatever, part of a blackmail operation. And that was pretty obvious, considering the relation with Ghislaine Maxwell and her father. It was never confirmed that he was a Mossad agent, but Israel gave him high honors at his funeral. So why would they do that if he was a Brit? They're not coming to our funeral and giving us high honors or whatever. So it's
that's very telling. I didn't put that together. That's a great point.
You know how he died, the father, Robert Maxwell.
No.
So Ghislaine Maxwell's father died on his yacht. Supposedly he killed himself or whatever. But he
Epsteined himself.
He Epsteined himself. Yeah. So you know how that goes. So obviously there was, and the guy that was in, I forget the guy's name, when they originally dropped the charges against him or didn't pursue it. They asked him, and he goes, well, I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence. And he probably was what was the guy's name?
Well, I'm sure it was a honeypot, just like the Playboy Mansion was for all those years.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing had all those pictures, cameras. We saw the black and white footage where it looks like Bette Midler or somebody's outside at the island. I mean, that's so feels like that is so many years ago that we were seeing that kind of stuff. So if that beautiful bean footage rolls out and we are all, I mean, if all this hits like around the time that if the government shuts down or whatever happens, and they on November 17th, we all come home for Thanksgiving, a lot of businesses kind of close down or kind of close, their offices or whatever. And everybody kind of goes home for Christmas and Thanksgiving. Kids are out of school, a lot of places, and everybody's home to watch the movies. A lot of this will be kind of perfect timing. They did I shared on the show here where we had a huge um, bust in Oklahoma, and they talked about sex charges, drug charges, and they said they were anticipating you were going to start seeing a lot of arrests, and that what was not just going to be in Oklahoma. And now the DOJ, which somebody commented on this and said, why is the DOJ busting a sex ring, a local sex ring, unless it has to do with our national security? Because usually this kind of thing would be handled by like a sheriff or
Right, right.
police or whatever. But this high profile sex ring has been busted with multiple arrests and involving government contractors, professors, military officers, so probably the Washington Generals, executives at pharmaceutical companies. Just it's all like rolling out there. But this is the DOJ guy and making the announcement about the bust. And I thought that was really interesting that it was happening in and through the DOJ.
Yeah. I mean, it's good that there's more attention on this stuff now. I feel like there's more of a sense of urgency to fight this stuff. I mean, I remember years ago it was like it was swept under the rug. Or I remember in Connecticut, when I was younger, there was a mayor up there that the FBI was investigating, and on the wiretap, it came up that he was molesting these two kids right in front of the mom. That was, I guess, a prostitute or whatever. And they buried the evidence because they said they didn't want to blow the case because they were going after him for something called bid rigging, which is like you're trying to manipulate the bids on certain jobs because like they need like 3 bids and stuff to come in. And it was like, like involvement with the mob. So they deemed that as worse than molesting kids. And that always, to me, I said to myself, these people are scum.
They're monsters.
They're monsters because they deemed that worse than kids getting abused and molested. And to me, that was like, there's nothing worse than doing something to a child. That's the worst of the worst. So the fact that that was even their thought was, hey, bury this stuff. And they actually, it came out. Like, I don't know how it came out, but I don't know if they got in trouble, but it was like, came out that, hey, they were getting rid of the evidence because they didn't want to blow the case against them for what they were investigating them on. It's like, where's your priorities at? So
like, there is a thing called a mandated reporter, and we're all actually mandated reporters, that if you know a child is in danger and you don't report it, you actually then could be held liable for not the same exact crime, but for child endangerment, because you knew and you did nothing. Like, yeah. I just can't even wrap my brain around it.
We're a society of wimps for the most part. I mean, even
cowards.
Cowards. You see a lot of videos on social media. There's like a woman getting abused, and there's a bunch of men sitting around filming it. It's like, you're not going to do anything. Like, it's just so like cowards. There's such cowardice out there, and it's we became a society of that, and it's strong men are not valued anymore, and that's they put it out there. It's toxic masculinity, and it's bad, and then it's just they've just manipulated us so bad, and then Now it's social media. Everyone's got their camera out, their phone out. Like, let's get a good video for our Instagram or whatever. It's like, where have we gotten to in society? I mean, it's really sick.
It is
It's
really
sick.
sick. My husband posted a thing, and it said something like, kind of like the fall of uh, of America was turning and valuing social media influencers and all of that, like celebrities, which they're all on strike right now, I guess. Um, Instead of the plumber and the electrician and the teacher and the nurse, the people that can actually fix things and do things, and create things in our society, in our community. And that's where, like, man, we got to get back to creating things,
I mean,
and
look at the most worshipped people. Like, look at the
oh,
Kardashians.
it's just disgusting that a
What?
mother, they're famous because if you, okay, let's just literally look at the Kardashians. The mother made all her daughters famous, starting with a sex tape of one of her daughters. She
Yep.
she is prostituting her daughters with sex tapes, and
It's,
she's the pimp.
I mean,
Like,
there,
I just
the
can't.
father who died was the only one that ever did anything. He defended, he was on OJ Simpson's legal defense team.
Yeah, what a
Again,
chump
not that,
he is.
but he at least was somebody that did something, and not that we agree with it, but he was a powerful attorney in the most popular legal case of the time. What did the kids do? What did the mother? They didn't do anything. Like you said, they
Yeah,
became they. She put a
prostitute.
sex tape out. She prostituted the kids.
Mhm.
It's sick. I mean,
She's a pimp of her children.
it's really sick.
Mhm.
It's sick where we've came to. I just saw a thing today on Twitter. It was some girl that had an OnlyFans, and it was which I'm not knocking that. Like, to each his own. Like,
And OnlyFans is like, um, a porn site or something that people pay to watch people or something?
there's other uses of it. There's people that do regular stuff, and you can subscribe to their thing. Like, it's not
Oh,
just porn. Like, there's
I didn't know that.
somebody might have a cooking thing and say, hey, I'm going to live stream myself cooking and do different stuff. And then there's different, but a lot of it's obviously like nudity and all that stuff. But
Hmm.
leave that aside. What made it so sick to me was the girl that they were showing. Her first month supposedly made $18 million. And it was right when she turned 18 years old. So it's basically like all these pervs were
Perverts.
waiting till the second she turned 18. And it's like, well, what was she doing before that? How'd she have such a following that knew to follow her on Miss OnlyFans?
Yeah, and
And
how was she getting the money before that? Yeah, because
yeah,
you
so
don't go from that nothing to
you don't
18,000,000,
go,
I wouldn't think.
no,
Um,
it's really where what we value in society is really, it's really a shame. It's a lot of manipulation. I feel like there is an effort. There's a video floating around about an ex-KGB guy. It was probably in the 80s, and he talked about how they were going to bring down America, and it was through the colleges and through the pop culture, ruining the values. I mean, American values are ruined. It's ruined. I mean, it really, it's so what we value and stuff, and it's just, there's still good people out there, but what's valued in the pop culture is just, it's satanic.
mhm,
Let's call it like it is.
literally, yeah.
It's satanic. It's sick. I mean, how do we fix it? I mean, there's not much we can do other than saying that we want to educate the people that still have the values and show them how to, hey, still live your normal life. That's why so somebody was talking to somebody about the metaverse and back when you could buy property in it through like Axie Infinity and those things.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, I can't believe you're into this, Johnny. I said, I'm not into the metaverse. They said, well, how do you know about all this stuff? I said, because I said, I want to make, I said, look, that's where society is going. I said, if I could be like the landlord of it and still live my normal life and do normal things with people, I said, I don't want to do that stuff. Like, it's not like, you know what I mean? I don't mind making money from this stuff and live how I normally live with my normal friends, doing normal stuff, like talking to people regular. I don't need to talk to someone through the metaverse. You know what I mean? But it's just like, it's sick where we, and not that, look, the metaverse, that's the least of our problems.
Yeah.
I mean, the
And there
metaverse,
was evil before there was internet. Don't get us
the
wrong.
world was evil.
Yeah.
And there's uses of the metaverse. Like I've done
Yeah.
a crypto conference in the metaverse. And it was really cool. Like it was really engaging. Like even meetings is a metaverse meeting and for a company is way better than like a Zoom meeting or meeting on a screen.
Interesting. Okay.
Feels
Yeah, I know
more.
there's a homeschool group called or project called Firefly that uses Minecraft kind of setup. And I was going to look into that for Canon because I thought, well, that might be something that helps us kind of because next year he's way more on his own with our current homeschooling curriculum. And so I was like, man, I'm going to need something to really encourage him. And so I thought, well, maybe if I could engage with the, some supplement with the Firefly thing, then he would have some metaverse because he'd be motivated because he used to play Minecraft. I don't know if he still plays Minecraft. Anyway, but some of that kind of stuff, but they use some of that for it. So
I mean,
I know there's good and bad. It's a tool, so you can be used for good or evil. Yeah.
But we can't ruin our values. I like what Jim Montgomery said. He said Kardashians are a CIA psyop. I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
So much of this is a psyop. I mean, even like, like SBF. Is he a psyop? I think he is.
I think so.
I mean, is he going to Epstein himself? Just look at that guy.
It's another way for them to wash their hands, to just make these people disposable. They set somebody up, knock them down, blame them. I mean, even Jay Clayton and what's his name? They're the ones that went after Ripple. Brad Garlinghouse was talking about this on this week there's DC like blockchain or something week. And Brad Garlinghouse was talking and he said, everybody's blaming Gary, but Jay Clayton was the one that sued Ripple and then the very next day quit.
Yeah. I mean, don't,
yeah.
It's a lot of this, I think, is to, which I've been talking to Greg about. He agrees. He thinks a lot of this stuff is to get people out, shake people out of their Bitcoin position. They don't want the public owning Bitcoin. They don't want the little guy owning Bitcoin. They, we were talking, people we know in real life, like we're like the only ones accumulating Bitcoin right now. And everyone else is like, oh, the FTX, or they like bring up something so stupid. And it's like, you can't talk because they've taken people's attention spans where it's down to about 4 seconds. If it's not a TikTok,
less than a goldfish.
And it's not even like people don't have it. And it's like, unless you're doing like a stupid video of something totally dumb, they just don't, it's not funny to them, or they can't. Most people with Bitcoin, if I can explain it to people really fast. Like I can give people a 2-minute elevator pitch on it where I gave you a lot of info on it, a lot coming at you in 2 minutes. Most people couldn't sit there for 2 minutes and listen to me talk about it. And I'm not a boring guy. I don't speak
Yeah.
monotone. I'm not like the, I'm not like this. I'm charismatic, and
Yeah.
and even me, they're like, I couldn't
And
listen.
you're passionate about it. Yeah.
I'm passionate.
But in January, the Basel thing changes, and the banks are going to be able to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So that makes sense if they're trying to shake people out of their Bitcoin, kind of like what they did when they were moving, going to close the gold window, all of that kind of stuff. So, they dropped the price, they helped suppress the price, um, got people to give up their gold. So you really have to be zooming out. You have to be a student of actual history. You have to be, really critically thinking about these things and listening to the right people, following people like Bix and Andy Scheckman, and asking these questions and thinking about this and looking out for your family.
Don't sell your Bitcoin to BlackRock at 50,000 per coin, and that's the general public is on zero when it comes to Bitcoin. There was people that got involved in the last cycle, but they bought crappy coins. They went down. They got burned by Voyager or Celsius, and they're just like FTX thing, and they're just not into it anymore. The general public, the normie, is not going to buy Bitcoin until it goes north of $100,000. And so there was something out there that said, well, there was like people saying, oh, BlackRock and them, don't they want to keep the price of Bitcoin down? I said, no, the exact opposite. They want to drive the price up. Their job is to sell Bitcoin and sell the ETF. That's how their salespeople get paid at all these institutional companies. The higher the price goes, the more people are going to want to buy it. People would rather buy Bitcoin at $200,000 than when it crashed to $16,000. $200,000, it's going to seem better to them to buy. It's going to be more fashionable to buy. And just think about the head start that people that watch this show that we got by being involved with crypto before. I mean, we had such a head start on the general public. But I think a lot of this is to get people on zero, get people to give up their Bitcoin. This way it can all go into these ETFs. That's how they want you to own it in the future. Don't get me wrong. They don't want you having the private key for Bitcoin and having it in a non-custodial wallet. We've already seen, one of the globalist enemies, Elizabeth Warren, talking about non-custodial wallets. I mean, that's a human right of freedom, an American right, and this maniac lunatic is going after it. I mean, she's a psyop. She's a total psyop.
Yeah, in her own right, she is. But I think a lot of them are just so bought and paid, and that's what they're in this in that video. They were talking about how many of them we have been infiltrated and are paid off, owned by China. They were talking about pallets of cash, $400 million. They kick out the prime minister of Israel, and he goes quietly because he's going to get $400 million put in a bank account somewhere. And that's where this system has to end. And we, the people, have to stop putting our energy into it. We have to critically think, and we have to build something new or choose something that is a sovereign currency that we control and that has transparency for anybody that we contract to serve us as a public servant. That's what.
As Westwood said, we have to try to exit the vampire casino. Right. The problem is the masses aren't going to do it.
The masses don't have to, though, because the masses are going to do whatever the leaders do. They're going to follow the leader just like they always do. They're going to always be the sheep. The sheep will always be the sheep. We, the people, it only takes 3% or something. So I know we have a strong community. We have a strong group. We just have to start. We have to turn the ship. It's time to turn the ship. It's time to turn the tide. And it's time to opt out and say enough. And I think there's enough of us to do that, to take those
I
actions.
think there's enough of us too. I feel like most normies are going to get swept up in it, but there is enough of us where we can at least have a good, have our own community, our own voice, our own groups. We have enough power to have a decentralized thing that
Hell, if the Amish can do it, we can do it.
we can do it 100%. I just feel bad for a lot of the people because they're just so manipulated. And mark my words, this is why they'll never take the internet down, ever, because they need that as a tool of manipulation. So people throw that out as a fear tactic, as fear porn. They will not take the internet down. If they take the internet down, they lost. Then communities will actually band together. Then they lose control. They need people on TikTok, on the social media, being manipulated, watching their shows. I think there's a lot of subliminal messaging through a lot of shows out there that manipulate people.
Well, remember all the stuff that was exposed through Disney and all of that, the subliminal messaging. In fact, I just saw another article or report about that Disney has taken out all the Bibles out of their hotel rooms. And because I guess I can't remember what religion goes around and put Bibles in. But they got rid of them all, and they put Dr. Seuss green eggs and ham in all of the bedrooms because they want kids to think about trying something new, trying something different. So they're trying to subliminally message that kind of thing, which I was like, my gosh, I didn't even think about putting all that together,
A lot of manipulation going on now. So it's coming at us in different ways, but they won't take the internet down. That's my prediction, that you won't have to worry about that. At least they'll scare us that they're going to take it down, and they'll tell us that something occurred and that the internet is at risk of getting taken down, and to give you to hand over your rights. They're going to make it seem like they're taking the internet down, but they won't. Trust me. They'll just use it as a fear tactic.
Yeah. Well, and I have we're releasing hopefully tonight on the Very Dow channel this great interview that I did with Reggie Middleton and a patent attorney and Bill Wagner from Uphold, talking about the recent when Coinbase went after and tried to break Reggie's patent, and it's just amazing. But then the next interview I want to do, there is my friend Jill that is on the board for creating the new CBDC. And she is also on the board for the Kansas City Fed. And Reggie was talking about that Fed now has some of his patent ideas. It has asymmetric key pairs, and so a private and public key pair. And what were they saying? They were saying like it may not be a bad thing. And I don't know that this wasn't Reggie saying this, but I heard somebody else saying like you could do a CBDC if it is backed by or secured by an actual asset that could be proven on chain. And so I started thinking about all of Bix's videos and talking about the silver with the flat spot that could be put on chain. And then I started thinking about the ITMs that I found during the Great Infection. And anyway, just all the things, the watermarks, all of it's kind of coming together and coming to a head right now. Yeah, the notch, Jean-Claude says.
The notch, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so we're in a really exciting time right now. And I'm grateful to be in the communities that we are in, because I feel like we are at least awake, aware of a little bit more of what's going on, and we can help a lot of people through this time. So everybody stay frosty. And,
yes.
watch
just stay positive, you guys.
Yeah.
Keep spreading the good word. Ignore the haters. A lot of people. I did a video the other day. People that laugh at you about Bitcoin, and it just, you know what? I did a video. I said it's time to call these people out. The video is a little explicit, so,
A little
yeah,
spicy.
little spicy, but just
Yeah.
you know what? Focus on the people that want to help, because there is still a lot of people that they will vibe with the Bitcoin message and the crypto message and the freedom message. I feel like people that are into freedom, and they might not have got it yet about Bitcoin, but those are people to talk to, because they get it on some level. So now you just got to bridge the gap of Bitcoin and crypto and, silver, gold. This is freedom of money and sound money. And so draw comparisons and to what's going on in regular society, of the great infection, what they're doing to our kids in schools, and then draw the parallel of sound money aspect. Even bring up college to people and explain why college is such a ripoff now, so expensive. It's outpaced the rate of inflation by, I think, 5 to 1 since the dollars came off the gold standard.
And it kills critical thinking, because they go in and then they critical thinking, or at least trying to, and then they come out and all of a sudden, where's the link? Or I need a peer review paper, because otherwise they can't prove anything for themselves. They can't critically think, because they've learned a different way of not learning how to have a discussion. Or that's one of the things I love about they do a debate, a mock trial and a debate in our homeschool curriculum. So that's coming up soon. I can't wait for him to do that. Yeah. So
Nice.
It's going to be fun. Yeah. Fun. But so critically think and
Yes,
challenge yourself
yes.
and your friends around you.
Yes.
Have those debates, and let's have some
Keep
conversation.
accumulating Bitcoin. We're up a couple $1,000 since last week. So maybe every week we'll kind of track how up we are. I think we're up, last week we were in the 34,000 range, the low 34,000. Now we're at about 36.5 before we started the show. We hit almost 38,000 this morning. Little sell off, but that's to be expected. And then we hit a higher low, and then we climb from there. So it's all good stuff, guys. I think we're going to see a 6-figure price sooner rather than later. I mean, it could hit before the year's up. So
absolutely. And join my Patreon.
Yes.
SL will be on with me this weekend. You guys haven't seen Crypto SL 369 in a while, but she has been texting the fire out of me, and she's very excited to share a new coin with you that has already just started doing launching off. So, but it's going to run, she thinks. And so I'll share her information with you. It's not me saying it, so no financial advice from me, but you can, her guides have some information that she wants to share with you guys. So take care, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow for happy hour. Bye.
Later, guys.